play pinochle with Polly the porpoise.
Please, just let me sleep.
Sometimes they take a picnic basket full of pickles and peppers and pumpkin.
Oh dang, you guys are gonna hate me for this, I know it. Hi, I'm Kitty Monk, and I'm here to talk to you about Bob's Burgers. Or more specifically, Louise Belcher. Oh boy, I haven't gone to Bob's Burgers in a long time. Last time I discussed how I used to love Bob's Burgers, and I still do, especially Bob himself. But as somebody who is technically indie and kind of works for herself, well, some of Bob's business decisions really make me mad. This time I want to discuss Louise, because honestly, I hate to say it, she's one of my least favorite parts of the later seasons. Because ever since I started becoming a critic, I have tried to rewatch old shows to kind of get ideas for future videos, and Bob's Burgers was one of those shows. And when I saw the new show, outside of being like, why do they all look sad or constipated half the time, Bob especially, with Louise, I was like, yeah, why do they do this with her? That's not to say I hate Louise or Bob's Burgers. I want to make that very clear because I might get a little harsh, but I actually do like both shows. I just have criticisms to give. Louise is one of my favorite characters, and her VA is one of my favorite, Christian Skull. You should go check her out. She is really funny, and she's in a lot of stuff. I knew her from Wilfred. What about you? I used to even own a pair of the bunny ears way back when. It's just that, I hate to say it, it's inevitable. Every long-running show inevitably decays on some level after 5 seasons, if even earlier in some cases. It doesn't mean the show itself is bad, it's just an unfortunate reality. The cast and crew start to get more job offers, or they become more hands-off, or they just leave altogether and give it to different writers who don't really know what made the show great in the first place. And on top of that, Bob's Burgers is an improv-heavy show that had to go remote during 2020, and those episodes where it's pretty clear they're recording from home, yeah, it definitely shows. Not only because, like, some episodes it will sound like they're recording from home. Like, I was trying to watch The Great North about 2 years ago for a review, and yeah, it felt like some scenes they recorded in like a bathroom or something and like a plane flew overhead. And while Bob's Burgers hasn't decayed as bad as, say, Family Guy or The Simpsons, it does have a few problems that need addressing. So let's discuss. Louise is the youngest member of the Belcher family. She's best known for her bunny ears, which we'll get to, and how originally she starts off as an evil spawn of the devil. I just realized devil has evil in it. Like, really, no joke as I was recording this. She's an agent of chaos, and in many ways, kind of like a female Bart Simpson, who is a bit better about showing affection to their sibling, showing why she'd be such a delinquent, or just caring about them. She even says in Bad Tina that she's fine with manipulating her older sister into doing her chores, but she draws the line at Tammy, aka a total stranger, blackmailing Tina and making her cry, saying that if Tina doesn't act out, she'll show people her embarrassing friend fiction.
Is that why you've been acting so bad?
Yeah, she's blackmailing me.
Blackmail? No one blackmails our sister but us!
Yeah, messing with Tina is a privilege, not a right.
Fun fact, Tina was how I found out about fan fictions or friend fiction, and I write both of these to this very day. But nobody can read them but me. They're therapy. Even as far back as the pilot, Louise does things like change Bob's Burger of the Day, which is New Baconings, to the child molester.
What's the child molester?
That's the burger of the day.
No, it's not.
For a limited time only, till you came back upstairs.
Did someone actually order this?
Yeah.
You know what? I try that. What? Free candy? Plus, you could put mayo on it or something. Wait, no, actually, if you did put mayo on it, I would hate you forever because mayo makes me gag, no joke. All around, Louise was an evil main character, which is needed for a heartfelt, good-natured show like this. She contrasts her family in a good way while also being one of them. The Belchers could be bad people, and I swear up and down, one reason they can't succeed as a restaurant is because Bob employs the kids as essentially free labor, and the kids are annoying to no end. Are you really gonna go to Bob's Burgers? A burger restaurant with 3 loud kids who won't leave you in peace, where the son talks about how he rubbed his ass on the table you're currently eating on, and the daughter backs him up? No wonder the prices are so low. I'd rather go eat at Pesto's. The son at least entertains me while I eat when he's dancing. But what's great about evil characters? Well, beyond doing what we probably wish we could do, they tend to be fun when they get a bit of development. Even with Bart, it's fun to see the times when he's a bit more human, like when he ruined Thanksgiving, or when he lost his soul, or he had to work at the burlesque house. Since if they're main characters, you have to work a bit harder at getting us, the audience, to like them or support their actions, since we need to root for them at the end of the day and the end of the episode. And that means you have to humanize them even more than you do with everybody else, which is why they tend to have better writing, I hate to say, or come off as more interesting, at least to me. I mean, come on. Alistair? He's a serial killer who eats people and yet he still has simps. Louise did occasionally get the added development. The first to my knowledge is spaghetti, western, and meatballs. Actually, this episode is important for later, so just save that. It's the first to establish the close bond that Louise has with her father, a bond she really does not want them to ruin. Every night, her and Bob participate in the burn ward, or burn unit, one of those two.
Okay, Burn unit commence.
where they watch TV and they make jokes at the actor's expense.
I'm on the news because I have a huge head.
Burn. I can't outrun a lawnmower because my dress is so tight.
Burn.
Wait, they talk on the TV all the time? Dude, I do that with House of the Dragon and Handmaid's Tale. But one night, Jean comes by, and Bob and Jean themselves bond over an old spaghetti western movie that Bob used to like, but that Louise doesn't really like, Banjo.
Damn.
Oh, you like that, Jean? Because we're changing the channel.
No, let's watch it. This is pretty much the beginning.
What?
Gene, sit here.
Banjo! Louise gets jealous and tensions ensue all episode. I mean, Jean keeps playing a guitar, like, not even playing it, just like pressing a few buttons, and looking like he's about to have an aneurysm each and every time. Like an aneurysm while he craps himself. Like,
Like this?
No, not like that. No. Don't growl. That.
Like this?
Maybe try that.
Since he projects what happens in Banjo on his school bully, Who'd Worse just knows how each of Jean's jokes is going to end. Like, he's annoying, but I don't think it's worth all the trouble.
I'll tell you what's green and sings. Elvis Parsley. You don't say the punchlines to other people's jokes anymore.
The thing is, compared to a lot of other episodes, Louise didn't really do anything wrong. She just felt left out. The others ignored her, and we do see here they are.
Jean, you are being a class act jerk. This is all about jokes from your stupid joke book.
You've insulted jokes for blokes for the last time.
Or she did what she did in response to them, like Jean leaving her in their lunchtime routine so he can one-up said bully.
No! Take him away! Jean, where are you going? What's up with Jean? I don't know, Lasagna. I don't know.
She even tries to tell Jean to knock it off when any other episode she'd probably, like, sabotage or stop him, but he won't listen.
If I were you, I would teach Jean a lesson he'll never forget. Looks like you got Choo-Choo right where you want him. Just give him that icy stare with some little princess and finish him.
Bob tries to get involved, especially after they get Mr. Frann involved and they both get detention, but the bully, whose nickname is Choo-Choo for reasons, ends up getting his dad involved. Get it? My dad can beat up your dad? Also, just to help pad out this video, here's why the bully is called Choo-Choo.
Train is off the tracks. Choo-choo!
Oh, I get the name now.
I always thought it was because of how he chewed. Because he chews like a train.
Samesies Jean. Until they're cornered in a slide and each scold Louise for how she's been acting this episode. But Louise retorts that she feels like she's been left out and confesses she acted the way she did because she felt abandoned. And rightfully so.
First, the burn unit stopped hanging out. Then, the lunch bunch. Who the hell am I gonna hang around if not you two? Mom and Tina? The menstruation nation?
I think it helps at first Louise did try to be peaceful or tried to reconcile with her brother, but he kept ignoring her. And we did see she tried to seek out other friends in the family. Strangely, not at school. It's a big point that Louise has trouble making friends at school, unless she has to force them or use evil tactics like with Andy and Ollie.
Here's the pecking order. Me, then either of you.
Which ticket do you like better, my purple ladybug or Susie's red one?
And goodbye.
No wonder she values her bond with her brother and her father. But she did try with Tina and that failed.
Room looks like it was decorated by a perverted jockey.
When you say that, what I feel is that you're trying to hurt my feelings.
Oh my god.
That's me and my sister. And she did try with Linda and that immensely failed.
Oh, I'd love that! Oh, mother-daughter bonding time! Just like me and my mother.
Also, this is just a me thing, but I love how queer positive Bob's Burger is and how it deals with masculine versus feminine. The family, even though they probably can't say it because of fucks, are all on different sides of the gender spectrum, I feel. Especially Jean, where they don't conform totally to their gender or gender expectations. Like, Tina comes off as masculine presenting, especially in appearance, but she has a lot of girly interests. It's just she's too socially awkward to make use of those interests 98% of the time. Whereas Louise dresses pretty girly, and you'd expect her to be girly, but she hates being girly, and she has a lot of interests that scream masculine. But because most girls her age, unfortunately, act like girls, this ostracizes her further. Hence why she hangs out with Bob and Jean. And this is both celebrated in the show and shown as a form of study, i.e. it's great, but like everything it has its downsides. Again, Rep is basically showing both sides. I think it helps Bob and Linda can be the same way, and they let the kids express themselves as openly as they want without judgment, even if this does lead to Louise being evil sometimes because they basically spoil her. But anyways, I'm getting off track, I am very sorry. It leads to a heartfelt moment where they each apologize to the other, and Louise does cry, but hides the fact she did.
You're all I've got.
Louise, I'm sorry.
Me too. Don't cry.
Ha! Got you. you thought I was really crying.
Aww. Now let me make it clear, I am not opposed to Louise getting humanizing moments or episodes at all. I think the earlier seasons did that pretty well. The most notable for me that comes to mind is Hawk and Chick, where Louise and Bob spot Cody, the lead actor from an old movie series they both enjoy, called Hawk and Chick. Duh, hence the title. Oh my god, I just realized it's called Hawk and Chick because a baby bird is called a chick and the dad's supposed to be Hawk. It sounds weird, but I legitimately just made this connection, guys. There are a series of Japanese movies involving a father and daughter as they travel around the countryside and give haircuts and fight monsters.
It's about a barber and his daughter traveling from village to village, trying to avoid trouble.
But trouble always finds them, and then they kick trouble's ass. Am I right?
And it's a really old film series, just BTW. Again, another sign of their strong bond. Do you ever have an obscure interest, or an interest that I guess is popular but not a lot of people like in your daily life? For me, it's Boss. It makes the sense of community all the more greater, especially when you get those little moments with others. I mean, why else do you think I call Level Up Expo a family reunion? Koji says the times have changed, and he and Yuki, aka the daughter or the chick, have been estranged for decades. He came to the States to try and find Yuki and make up, but to no avail.
Hawk and Chick haven't spoken in 30 years? What the hell?
She chose to move to America with her mother. Our relationship was strained because I strained it.
Oh my god, a father and daughter estranged? How do I say it? Oh my god, estranged? Estranged, okay, there we go. Estranged? It gets to Louise, and she convinces Bob to do everything in his power to bring the pair back together, or at least get them to meet. However, they go meet with Yuki, who turns out to have given up the life of an actress in favor of being an accountant. Oh god, my worst nightmare.
Wrong! Wrong! Working with your dad is fun. I mean, working with your dad was fun because he was a samurai and you killed monsters!
She says she's unwilling, and Bob says they probably should drop it because no amount of convincing is gonna make it work. And plus, as somebody who was in Yuki's position, yeah, you have your reasons, and a lot of people don't get them unless they've been in similar situations. Louise is one of those people, so she just doesn't listen.
Number screen on your desk there.
I'm very happy as an accountant.
No, you're not.
I am.
You're depressed.
No, I'm not.
You didn't let me finish. Me.
They decide to stage a meetup at an impromptu Hawk and Chick film gathering, which Yuki catches onto. And when it all seems to go to crap, like Yuki's about to leave, Louise confesses the real reason she's been trying to pull the strings. She's afraid that when she gets older, her and Bob will drift apart, and she was projecting her feelings onto Yuki and her father.
But how could a father and daughter not talk for 30 freaking years?
Whoa! Seaweed monster suddenly thinks this might be about something else.
Which Bob reassures her will never happen.
Is that what happens when you grow up? You grow apart?
This Hawk and this chick will never not talk for 30 years.
Aw, now that's a moving moment. Heck, it makes it one of the best episodes of the entire series in my opinion, and it puts a lot of Louise's past moments under a different lens, like how she cares so much. Why was she upset Jean and Bob got along in spaghetti and western and meatballs? Because perhaps Bob would leave her for Jean, perhaps permanently. And yeah, we know that she loves Jean, but hey, it sucks when your friend takes on a new best friend. Why does she want to take over the restaurant in Carpe Museum? Because then she'd be keeping her father alive in a way. Why does she insist on doing it in the kids run the restaurant? Hey, good practice, even if they are running a casino. I think it's also one of the few times Bob does call out the fact the family's weird. The thing is, Hawk and Chick is also a double-edged sword of an episode, unfortunately. Because for all intents and purposes, it is a good episode, and it's one of their best. Like, if you're somebody who wants to get into Bob's Burgers, I'd say this is a good episode to start with. But it also informed a lot of the later decisions for the crew going forward, I feel. The writers realized that fans loved when Louise got humanizing moments or episodes, and they loved how she and Bob bonded. Because Bob, for all of his flaws as a parent, is one of the most supportive dads on television, especially in the cartoon world. Plus, hey, considering episodes like Mother-Daughter Laser Razor, it was foreshadowed pretty well. Louise loved Bob ever since she was a baby.
Are you mommy's little girl?
Dada.
And mama.
Dada.
Mama.
Dada.
Mama. Mama.
But hey, they struck gold, and they kept trying to hit the same nerve over and over and over and over and over, without realizing why the nerve getting struck the first time worked so well. Now, the reason Hawk and Chick worked as an episode, as probably one of their best, was besides your parent leaving you being a realistic fear for some people, especially for years and years, and in Louise's case, a major one. Well, Louise beforehand was mostly an evil character who kept her emotions well guarded. Even in Mother-Daughter Laser Razor, one of my favorites, when she had real reason to hate Linda and then apologized to her at the end, she didn't get as emotional as she did here. At most, she just said sorry in her own typical Louise way.
Don't you talk to me that way, Miss Smartmouth. You just bought yourself a ticket to your room.
Oh, fine. Best money I ever spent. You can't ruin anything in there.
So it makes the occasional time Louise does fully drop the act come off as more genuine and earned in my opinion. See, a major problem with the later seasons, which Louise is a major symptom of, is repetition when it comes to striking the same nerve over and over and over and over and over, whether or not it worked at first. Like, okay, it was funny to joke at first that Gene has a crush on his own mother. It's stupid, but a quick joke, and Gene is the type to say outlandish crap, probably without meaning it or thinking it through. And Linda thought it was cute. Yeah, so let's make that Gene's entire character going forward and have an entire episode where he can't tolerate his mother just having a hobby outside of him, one night a week. No matter how cringy and weird in a bad way it comes off as. Okay, it was fun at first to have the kids tell stories or have 3-episode segments. I mean, I love the Fron Files, and a lot of adult cartoons do that. I mean, even a lot of the Fox cartoons do that, like Family Guy, The Simpsons. I mean, come on, Free Directors is one of my favorite Family Guy episodes, which is why the later seasons of Bob's Burgers are lousy with the 3-episode segments. Some good, some bad. It's just, it happens disturbingly often and a lot of people hate them, so I gotta point it out. Sliding Bobs, The Gale Tales, Mom Lies in the Videotape, Bed Bob and Beyond. Or it's just an episode where they're telling like one big story, like Diarrhea of a Poopy Kid or Fight of the Not Okay Choral.
I want you to think. Turns out their intentions were not so good. In fact, they were bad.
No.
And all to serve their own greedy purposes.
No.
Honestly, that episode, the chore episode, rather than it being the kids tell stories, is just the entire family telling one big story. The thing is, out of all of the story episodes, this one easily could have been a normal episode. And it probably would have been better if they explored the concept as a normal episode over them telling a story, although I do feel like they probably could have kept Linda telling off her mom in some way, like maybe her and Louise write a paper and then that happens. I don't know, I'm stalling. See, Linda has been chatting with her mother, Gloria, who coincidentally is also voiced by the mom from The Nanny, and Gloria suggests, i.e. forces Linda to start making the kids do chores around the house, which Louise refuses to do because, as she points out, they already work the restaurant after school for free and they aren't paid for that at all.
Are we getting a raise in our very meager allowance?
I think the reward is that you are contributing to this family.
You know, we do work in the restaurant every day for free.
Now, should the Belchers be helping out their parents? Yes. Plus, I hate to admit it, yeah, Gloria's kinda got a point. The kids are a bit spoiled.
They should do chores because we told them to. Because it'll make them better people in society and all that crap. Not to get candy. What if they turn into little delinquents who won't listen to authority? It ruins their lives.
I mean, this is the Louise we're talking about. I mean, not in the later episodes, but seriously, sometimes it's like they walk all over their parents. Even synchronized swimming, the entire plot line was they take advantage of Linda's kindness so much. But does Louise have a point? Yes. Another problem I have with the later seasons, however, especially the later seasons of Louise, is how toned down she is.
What if we refuse to do these chores?
Well, then I would respectfully say you don't have a choice.
Well, then we're going to respectfully stop eating our vegetables.
This is the same girl who sprayed Teddy with insect pheromones and then used Linda's credit card to call up costume characters, aka his biggest fear, just to scare him out of her room when Linda did an Airbnb, pre-Airbnb, and took over her space without asking. So it would be great to see Louise do more than just say, I'm not doing chores, I'm gonna strike, and I'm gonna tell you a story about us striking. It doesn't help that despite her young age, Louise is a bit mature, I hate to say. Like, she catches on. She caught on that the writers made Gloria a tad too realistic of a cartoon mom, demanding, somewhat emotionally abusive, who takes advantage of the toxic Italian virtue of family to get her adult daughter who lives multiple states away to do things for her she isn't comfortable with doing, just in the name of family.
Also, I mean, one of our chores was to light Grandpa's cigars, like in our mouths. So, I could still taste it. So maybe she's not Mother of the Year.
Well, now she sounds great.
Whereas the earlier seasons, yeah, Gloria was obnoxious, but when-in-law isn't to some degree. So while Gene and Tina are willing to be polite, Louise would probably be the type to mouth off to her grandma with no fear if she figured Linda wouldn't stop her. And I feel Louise would be the type to tell Gloria where to shove it if Gloria told her to go do chores. The chore episode also delves into the idea that Linda is resentful of her mother, but hey, family is a toxic Italian virtue, and she's even happy that Louise stood up to her this episode to some degree.
You know, I'm glad you're so spunky. It'll be good for you when you're older. Nobody's gonna push my Louise around. He'll be the toughest little cutie in prison.
I hate to say it, Louise being evil here like she used to be would have worked great. But for lack of a better word, Louise went from a more realistic Stewie Griffin to a kid who just happens to be bad. Like, I kind of compared her to Bart Simpson, but I feel like she's more of a Stewie Griffin. And the reason they did it was so they can have more episodes where the vehicle is she has to learn a lesson. Ultimately, a problem with Hawk and Chick and with Louise getting too much focus going forward is partially because it came out during Season 5. Because honestly, Season 5 has some fantastic episodes, but it was when Bob's Burgers started to decay. Season 6, for me at least, was the last good season, but Season 5 is where it starts. The second half of Bob's Burgers suffers from what I call King of the Hill syndrome, which is ironic since a lot of the same writers and VAs were on that show. But anyways, kind of like King of the Hill, Bob's Burgers started off as a somewhat risque show that, as much as it tried, wasn't all that risque. Like, if you wanted to watch it in front of like young kids, you wouldn't have to fear them repeating naughty swear words or anything vulgar. It was to the point where that was the only adult cartoon my parents were perfectly fine with my sister watching, or even with me watching, and the only Fox cartoon they would ever watch with me. Excluding a few episodes, like the one where Linda and Gretchen sell vibrators, Mary Kay style for instance, but hey, that's why you be a parent and monitor what your kids are watching, or at least tell them don't repeat it in front of other people. Regardless, as a result, Bob's Burgers came off as a breath of fresh air compared to their other sister shows. Since back then, and even today unfortunately, most adult cartoons try to be as adult or as raunchy as possible. Like, I'm sorry, I like Hazbin and Halva, but I gotta say it. Even if considering shows like Arcane, adult can also mean maturely talking about serious topics, not just making fun of them, and therefore the competition ends up feeling like rubber stamp clones with no true identity. But eventually, like King of the Hill, Bob's Burgers realized, although it did take a while, that they weren't that bad of a show in terms of content, and or they had gathered an audience they never anticipated, so they started to cater almost exclusively to one specific group. With King of the Hill, it was conservatives and or Texans. With Bob's Burgers, it was families and arguably a middle school audience. And as a result, they Flanderized everybody to match, or unlike King of the Hill, they got rid of their negative traits to make them more family friendly, or ramped up what they thought the audience wanted to see as a result. Like how originally King of the Hill was a very centrist show that made fun of everybody on the political spectrum, and their morals reflected that. Which is why the later seasons had episodes where most of the time Hank was the voice of reason, even though the whole point is supposed to be he's realistically out of touch, or the plot which is bent over backwards to cater to Hank, even if it means going against their own values, considering episodes like business is picking up, even if the show works a lot better in my opinion when Hank has his viewpoint challenge, but who are you gonna tell? But Bob's Burgers, one way they did that was by toning down most of the adult references and just upping the toilet humor. And another way they did that was by, again, striking the same nerve and hoping to get the result without realizing why that result happened in the first place. The Louise episodes in the later seasons always follow the same pattern, especially when they want to be heartfelt, which is often. Louise will want to do something bad or rule-breaking, her family and or friends will tell her not to do it and why she shouldn't, she'll still do the bad thing regardless, and then she feels bad, and then we get some kind of humanizing moment or a touch of sympathy, rinse and repeat the next episode. The problem is, unlike Bart Simpson, Louise doesn't keep most of her eviler traits from the earlier seasons, so she ends up feeling more like a neutered prop, so these moments don't hit as hard as they should for me, or they do it far too often and they don't space them out enough that it doesn't have the same impact that Hawk and Chick did. See, let me discuss one episode from the earlier seasons where Louise did do something evil, but still got humanized in a good way. In Earsy Rider, Louise makes the acquaintanceship of local bully, Logan Barry Bush. Logan Barry Bush? His mom didn't think it through, Catherine, it's canonical. Normally, in most shows, Louise would back off, and the ending would be that she was secretly scared that whole time, and she just didn't want anybody to know. And only by standing up to the bullies or getting her parents involved would she win, or going the more noble route. But no, Louise, to her credit, actually does stand up for herself and her siblings in her own typical Louise way. Good for her.
You can't walk here.
Oh my gosh, I can't walk here? Oh, look, it's a miracle. I'm walking.
Shut your butts, coconuts.
But you said I couldn't, but I'm doing it.
However, Logan escalates it by not leaving well enough alone and steals Louise's ears.
I'm confiscating these. Laters.
What just freaking happened?
And you know how I keep using the word neutered? I'm sorry if I keep repeating myself. Yeah, it feels like that here, but strangely in a way that's justified. Louise can barely function without her ears because they are her security blanket and the way she's spotted in a crowd.
You're not wearing your ears today. Or are they invisible?
Invisible? Where do you come up with this stuff?
That's why I have Fizz and Jackie. And the hoodie she's wearing to cover her scalp doesn't help. It just makes everybody realize what was taken. And everyone really does notice.
Not wearing your bunny ears? This is big. Lots of issues to discuss, feelings to process.
Oh yeah, tell me about it, Mr. Fran. I am processing up a storm!
At first, Louise does try to go on without them, but realizes she's never going to get closure unless she confronts Logan. So she tries to get them back from Logan to no avail, be it asking nicely, following him around school, or anything. It doesn't help that unlike the normal kids in school, Logan is older and bigger, and he knows that he's getting to her, and he's probably done way worse to other people. Therefore, she tries the nuclear option of going to Logan's parents and just asking for the ears back.
Your son, he stole something of mine.
Logan! You took this girl's bunny ears?
I didn't want to tattle, but you left me no choice.
Gasp. But Logan says he threw the ears in a dumpster and they've supposedly been incinerated, meaning Louise will never get them back, and as the movie showed, they were made especially for her, so yeah, she is never getting them back ever. So it's not like you can even argue she can just buy a new one and make new memories with them, because she can, which really gets to Louise and kind of has her reach a breaking point.
Revenge!
You know what, to be fair, I would do the same if I lost Fizz or Jackie. Actually, I did lose the original Fizz last year at AwesomeCon, and I was going through a PMDD episode that week, so I was very much like Louise, no joke. Those photos tell lies. Louise finally decides to be evil by cashing in on a favor with the One-Eyed Snakes to have them terrorize Logan for her in exchange for burgers and beer. Because as she monologues, oh, poor Logan, you didn't know what you're getting into. Just be glad Bob's Burgers airs on Fox and not Comedy Central, because Louise's mom hates you, so I feel like Linda would be in favor of one specific punishment. Yowza. The thing is, Louise insists that the One-Eyed Snakes have to cut off Logan's ears, since he took her ears and threw them away, so now they're gonna take his ears and throw them away.
You took my ears and threw them away, and now these guys are going to take your ears and throw them away.
What?
I love it. You go, girl. You know, I thought that Roger was the kind of petty I wanted to obtain. Louise is the kind of kid I wanted to be when I was younger. But Critter has standards, and honestly, Logan's just a bully who needs to be put in his place, so at worst, he just cuts off Logan's shirt tag.
Oh god, don't cut my ears off! I hate when shirt tags stick out.
Gasp! Now Logan's not gonna know which way to put his shirt. Logan, probably pissing his pants, confesses that he never threw the ears out. He kept them in his bag, and Louise is glad to have them back.
My ears!
Please don't cut off my ears!
Fun fact, we never see Louise without the hat ever. I have opinions about that we'll get to later. Logan, of course, tells his parents in exchange, and it leads to a confrontation at Bob's Burgers between the parents and the One-Eyed Snakes, which is only diffused when Mudflap ends up going into labor and giving birth to Critter's baby on one of the tables, which does save the day. I don't know, just go watch the episode. It's a pretty good episode. Louise is angry that they aren't going to have any violence or bloodshed, but it's Linda who sets her straight. She stood up for herself, for something she cared about, and that's pretty good.
You were very brave. You stood up for yourself, got help from dangerous bikers, all without your ears. Maybe you don't need them anymore.
Now, another way to tell if a show has decayed is if they reuse plots from old episodes or just straight up rehash them, because there's only so much you can do with one set of characters, unfortunately. Especially if you're a show like Bob's Burgers, where you have to do like 20 episodes a season. Personally, I don't mind if shows do it, because again, there's only so much you can do, and maybe they can go back and fix what you did, and sometimes it is fun to see them tackle different ideas from time to time. Even my favorite episodes of shows can be rehashes, but most of the time, they don't change anything or give the episode a distinct enough identity from the inspiration, or they make it obvious they're ripping off their own work with a whole new cast of flanderized neutered characters, so it doesn't work as well as it once did, or they don't know why it worked so well back then compared to then. You want to know an episode where they do a plot similar to this, but worse? You're gonna hate me again for this. The movie. I'm sorry, it needs to be stated. Okay, I'll be honest, I did like the movie, but it's not my favorite cartoon movie. It didn't really feel like a movie. It felt like a bunch of reused episodes plots mashed together for me. At times, it felt like a longer than normal episode. Like, if you were to trim the fat, it would make for a good two-parter. Think of the episode Burger Wars, Bob Saves, Destroys the Town, and Earsy Rider if they were one episode. That's what it feels like for me. Plus, I hate to say it, Bob's Burgers is a show all about a family hanging on by a thread, only to be bailed out at the last minute, but be told that, hey, their Hail Mary pass only works one once, so next month they're gonna have to do it again and probably find another solution. Movie adaptations are supposed to raise the stakes, do something they've never done before, and you can't really do that with a family that regularly loses everything only to be bailed out, unless it's something like Bob legitimately does lose the restaurant, or maybe he does lose a competition. Because what else could you possibly do if he loses the titular restaurant? Even with Louise not having her ears, unless they destroy them, they can't really replace them because of how the movie justified them existing.
Your mother made it. It's sort of in honor of my mom.
And I had extra materials, so, rabbitious. But I made them after your first day of preschool, to celebrate, because you were so brave.
Again, they could have her buy a new pair, because, hey, it does suck buying a new pair because of the memories attached to the original, but no, you can't do that with those. So there's no way to replace them. The movie establishes why Louise wears her ears. They make her feel brave. They're her security blanket. Again, they're kind of like her version of Jackie, which admittedly, I think is a good approach. We saw they were so etched into her identity during Earsy Rider, she acted like she lost all her limbs. And even if Louise is a pretty strong character, she's still a child, and her superiority complex does cover up a lot of insecurities. On the playground, she gets asked to try a stunt on the jungle gym, which would likely lead to her hat falling off. And when she declines, Chloe calls her a baby, which gets to her.
She's afraid her hat will fall off.
You're afraid my hat will fall off.
I don't know why she still wears that thing. It's like she's 5.
Oh boy.
Baby.
Again, I'm not opposed to Louise going through this or this type of arc, even though she has been told she wasn't brave in prior episodes, especially Earsy Rider. But a reason Earsy Rider worked so well was because of how Logan and Louise played off of each other. Louise didn't back down, and neither did him, and both were pretty evil. Plus, he's a good antagonist. Up to this point, Louise only really dealt with kids her age, or kids who went to the same school as her. She never had to deal with a high schooler. Chloe, I do think at times can be pretty evil, but I don't think Louise would just tense up when she's called a baby. To the point of telling the wharf workers it's why she sympathizes with them, and their struggles do not compare. If this were the earlier seasons, I could see Louise spending all episode trying to find a way to one-up Chloe, doing something vile where maybe it leads to everyone calling Chloe a baby, or maybe Chloe calls her a baby because she had ears, so maybe she'll just cut off Chloe's hair or something, because Chloe's hair gives her confidence after all, just as Louise's ears give her confidence. Remember this line here?
You took my ears and threw them away, and now these guys are going to take your ears and throw them away.
What?
Yeah, instead the movie is about Louise trying to prove to everyone, including herself, that she is brave, no matter how much she denies it. And for her parents to reassure her in a heartfelt moment they never thought of her as such.
Wear these freaking ears. I mean, if you're brave, you don't have to prove you're brave.
Louise, you're brave. You're one of the bravest people I know.
Who is this character? Also, they do have an opportunity to raise the stakes at the end, since Louise's hat does fall off. And this is a movie they could probably get away with not showing her with her hat on. I mean, come on, the South Park movie showed Kenny without his hood, and yet every episode after that, they do show him without his hood, but they make a point of usually obscuring his face or his voice. Here, they just don't for some reason. It's kind of weird. It might seem like a weird thing for me to complain about, but again, the later seasons pulled the storyline verbatim constantly. Nice capades. Louise wants to put on a show to tell Santa how good she was and to get extra presents. She's told not to. She does it anyway. She learns it's bad to lie to Santa and has a heartfelt moment saying she doesn't deserve any presents. The worst for me, Louise was told to make presents for her grandparents, but instead she wants to steal ceramics and pass them off. She's told not to do it, goes along with doing it, and realizes, oh, wait a minute, I should make heartfelt presents for my grandparents.
I don't want to play these off as my own. Not to my grandparents who might semi-treasure them. A lie is a crappy gift.
It just feels weirdly out of character. Louise knows that Gloria is a bad grandparent, and she knows Al, while he's a mostly good guy and she probably does love him, doesn't really do anything to help the situation. He just enables his wife. And she knows Gloria doesn't exactly love Louise the same way the episode makes it out to be. So this really doesn't land for me the way they're trying to. If she was supposed to make a heartfelt gift for Bob and Linda, or even Teddy, and she still cheapened out, I think it would tug at my heartstrings a little bit. Or Louise has to go on an overnight field trip, even if it means using the bathroom in front of other people, as in there's a huge chance she might have to crap in front of other people. She wants to go home early, but she's told not to, so she goes home early and then goes back with Bob, and they have a heartfelt moment where they use the toilet at the same time. And the thing is, many of these moments or episodes are not that bad. I find the aquarium episode weirdly relatable. Thank God they have gender-neutral restrooms and family restrooms and the handicap stalls, albeit this is the same Louise who once made a candy bar in the pool to get out of synchronized swimming and named to Jezebel. But the episode does say she does try to be like Bob, so I could see her subconsciously copying her father, so to speak, since a big point is Bob also can't use the bathroom in public either. But yeah, just it happens so often that you just kind of have to point it out. Like, oh no, Louise is gonna learn her lesson again? Oh no, I wonder how this time. The one time I did enjoy it was when Jean saved Louise from Logan, since we do get moments with Louise and her brother, but usually it's Louise lording over him. So it's good to see her having a heartfelt moment with her brother rather than her father.
Remember it for the rest of your life!
No. Come on, no.
Are you crying?
No.
It's just that, you know what? I said my piece by now, I'm repeating myself, and I'm sorry if I came off angry in this video. I very tried not to. I don't think Louise is a bad character, it's just that, yep, this song and dance has been a little repetitive. So how's this video, you hypocrite? Shut up, Catherine. Anyhow, bye.